What's up, everybody? This is Stephen Williams, founder and president of the creditrepairshop.com. And in this video, what I want to talk about is we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about being ready to change, to make a change so you can get out of debt, so you can fix your credit. What I'm seeing with a lot of people is that it just seems that, you can give people all the information. You can give them books, how-to books. You can give them, hold their hand and show them what to do. But if they're not ready to make that change, nothing's going to happen. And I think that is what I'm seeing a lot of with people. People are struggling. If you are struggling right now, it's because you have not changed on the inside. Real quick, let me tell you a little bit about my own life. What happened with me was when I was 20 years old, and I had met who was to become my wife. She had asked me a question that had went straight to the core of me, like it was like straight. And at that time when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, I went into the military at 18. But during that whole time, I had tried starting businesses. I had bought a whole bunch of stuff for business, and I did pretty good in one network marketing company when I was 16, but then that fell apart because I was too young. I was just blowing the money, didn't continue working the business, and went into the military. And then when I had got met my wife, and we had started getting serious, and she had asked me a question. She was like, I see all of this business stuff that you got. Is this just another game that you're doing, or is this for real? And something about that question, it went deep, deep down inside of me. It was I had to make a change. I had to start taking life serious. And what I'm seeing people do when it comes to their credit, when it comes to their debt, when it comes to running their life, when it comes to doing almost everything, they're not taking life serious. They think they are consciously. They're thinking that they are taking it serious, but they're really not when you look at the results. Because that was what I had to look at. Yes, I was doing all this types of things. I had this types of activity trying to make money this way or that way. But when I looked at the result, the result was not there. So that meant that I had to not try to go outside and get more things to try to change or to get a result. I had to change me on the inside. And once I changed me on the inside, that was when the results started to slowly occur. And so what I think, if you find yourself in a situation where you are struggling with debt, you're struggling with bad credit, first thing you need to do is you need to make a change on the inside yourself. You have to make that change and not worry about what other people are going to say or what, because they don't know what they're doing. They're just following what someone probably taught them. You have to make that change on the inside. And the change on the inside is just a decision to start following people that know what they're talking about. And that's what I did. I had made a change, and we had started listening to people that knew what they were talking about. At that time, we were listening to a person called Marshall Silver. You can look him up on the internet. We listen to his tapes every day. And to this day, there's things that we had learned from repetitively listening to him on how to change our life financially. And it is not some business opportunity. It's just telling you how you have to think in your mind, how you have to change yourself on the inside if you want to have changes on the outside. So with that being said, let's get into debt. I just received, and here it is on my phone. You can see, let's see if you see my name there, and you see that right there, $33,669,199.74 in charge-offs. $33 million. Debt collection company can buy this debt and they will sell it to them, and then what they're going to do is they're going to have a strategy to collect that debt. They know that income tax season is out, so what they want to do is they want to send those letters directly to you or anyone that is in debt that's on one of these accounts here, and they're going to send out the letter to see if that's a valid address, if the person responds. And then if there's no response and they find out that it's a valid address, and the way that they're going to do that is they're going to match that with the credit report. So they're going to do a database search first, then they're going to send out the letter, no response, and they know from the database search with the credit bureaus that the person is at that location. Then the next step is to look at the job status on the report. See, all of this stuff they're doing, they don't have to really go out like it used to be in the old days. What they do is they do searches on your credit to see where you're working at. So then they'll see where you're working. And then from there, that's when they're going to send out the lawsuit letter. And at that point, that's where, all bets are off, because if they get that into court and you don't show up, they're going to get a default judgment. If you show up and you don't have any answers to the summons, they're going to get an automatic judgment against you. And then the next step that they're going to take is to start to garnish your wages. And when they start to garnish, they're going to push to get 100%. So now I'm going to break down how you would take care of each situation so you don't get it to a lawsuit phase. When you first get the letter in the mail for the debt, you need to validate that letter two ways. First, you need to validate it to find out if a debt collector owns it, which if they got it from this, they actually are buying the debt. So you want to submit a validation to them, showing legal proof that you have to pay them for that debt, that how they got the debt, and all of the charges from the original creditor proving that you owe the debt. 9 times out of, I won't say 9 times out of 10, because they have been going back and supplying this information. So what they're going to do is they're going to have to go to the original creditor that they bought it from and get that documentation. If they don't get it, they're going to not go after you for it, because that's legal. They have to legally do that. The way they get around it is when people don't respond. So that's the first part with the first letter that they send in the mail. Second, if they summons you to go to court because there was no response and they looked on your credit reports, saw that you have a job that's worth taking the risk of them paying an attorney to show up in court, paying the court fees to file the court case, they're going to go through that step and they're going to send that summons. When you get the summons in the mail, if you pay attention to it, read it. Don't just get scared and emotional about it. Read it. You have to answer each question. You can't just go to the bottom and say, I'd never dealt with this company. You have to answer each question. You'll see on the summons it says, the debt collector wants you to answer these questions. You answer each of them to the best of your ability, to the best of your knowledge, and then you send that to the court. You send that to the collection agency. I've seen it to where when that was done, they've either decided not to sue because they cannot answer because your answers that were in there from their questions ended up putting them into a situation where they were going to have to prove if you ended up going to court, which is the next step. When you go to court, you would have opportunity, number one, to answer those questions which you submitted to the judge. And then number two, you have your questions that you have of them, which was really basically what was with that first letter responses. You want to see all of the documentation proving that you owe this debt. Don't just go to court and say, well, that debt is mine and they bought it and I don't have to pay it. No, you can't do it that way. You have to get them to prove everything about the debt, the charges, everything that you did, and then the next phase would be if they did bring they what they'll usually do is if they don't have that when they go to court, they're going to ask the judge for continuance. If what you can do is you can say to the judge that I don't believe that they have it and I want a dismissal of this case. This personally happened to me. I could have done that and I didn't know at that time, but I'm telling you what I know now. You can ask for a dismissal because if they don't have any of that documentation other than just coming into court saying that you owe this debt, more than likely the judge, unless the judge is just one of those that's on the side of debt collectors, they're going to dismiss the case, make them bring it all over again. And then they're going to have to determine if they want to spend the money to do that. If they do get the judgment, then what you could do, or the judge says he's going to rule in their favor, you could say, well, can I go have a few minutes to speak with their attorney in the room, and then we come back if we can't come to an agreement, because then at that point that will probably be the best time that you can do a face-to-face settlement with them and not worried about filling out all types of financials and all that type of stuff. And that I personally did that, so this is not going off of any hearsay or what someone else said. This is exactly what happened to me when I had a credit card debt back in the 90s. So then at that time you can make a settlement offer, and you're usually going to get a very good one at that point, because let me tell you how this is how it lines up. Say for instance the debt collection company buys all of that debt, and say they buy it for like $50,000. The first goal of them is to make their $50,000 back. So everyone that they see face to face in front or had the ability to make some type of settlement, they're going to push to get that money back. They want to get the money that they invested back, and then they're going to want to go and start making their profit. So that's why it's very easy to do a good settlement in court at that time. And also the judge is going to push them to try to go ahead and resolve the situation. The judge will say, well, I don't want to see you guys again. Let's try to resolve it right now. So you can do that. Now, if it gets past that where you don't have the money, you can't settle, they get the default judgment, and the next thing they're going to do is try to go after the garnishment. If they get the garnishment, then you need to get the garnishment worksheet, and you need to check two things. First, every state has a guideline on the amount of income based on your dependents, based on how much you make either weekly or every other week, your take-home pay. They have what's called a poverty guideline, and if you are under that guideline, it doesn't mean that you're in poverty. It means that you could have dependents that pull you down to have you below the level of being able to qualify to be garnished. I see this all the time in my office. We've stopped tons of garnishments solely just because of that. You don't have to hire an attorney and do all types of additional paperwork other than a letter directly to the collection attorney showing them by your state's guideline that you do not qualify to be garnished. A way if you do qualify to be garnished, and the next thing is that garnishment worksheet. You need to make sure the amount that they're legally able to garnish you by, and you have to fill out that worksheet. Every state is different, but you fill out that worksheet, and then you will know the amount that you qualify to, depending on your income, your dependents, and whatever rules of your state will allow them to garnish the money from your account. So hope you got very good information from that. Again, my name is Stephen Williams, with founder and president of creditrepairshop.com. And if you need any help or you have any questions, comment below this video, and you can reach out to us on our website at thecreditrepairshop.com. Thank you.